if you're going to put the screen right across the whole window, you need to measure the recess, which is right the way from one side to the other at the bottom, and then take the measurement at the top, the same measurement measure at the top and the bottom, and always take the smallest measurement. So if the top measures like this does, if the bottom measures 1730 and the top measures 1740, you take 1730 because you want it to be straight and square. And then the drop, you take the drop from the top of the ceiling down to the windowsill, and again measure both sides, measure this end and that end, and take the smallest measurement as your measurement that you're going to use. If you're going to fix just to the opening sash rather than the whole recess, for instance with a roll-up screen, you need to make sure you've got 20 or 30 millimetres to fix the side track onto the window mullion here. So you take it from there to the wall, and to allow yourself a little bit of play, just come in maybe 5 or 10 millimetres, 5 millimetres say each side, so you can make sure you get it straight all the way down. The other thing to watch out for is window handles. If the side channels are going past the framework of the window, you need to make sure that they're not going to obscure any locks or the window being opened and closed on the catches. On removable screens, if you're going to put a removable screen on this window here for instance, you need to allow about 10 millimetres for this, at least, for the frame to overlap each side. So for instance on this one you'd take it as being say 570 millimetres. Make sure you've got enough space on the outside of the frame to fit your casement clips. The casement clips are 12 millimetres in diameter, so you need to be able to get those onto the frame and the screen go inside those clips. So don't make the mistake of making your screen too wide and then finding you can't get your casement clips on the frame to secure the screen onto the window. If you're going to have hinges on there at the top, then allow the same at the top, allow a little bit more, allow about 15 or 20 millimetres at the top for the hinges. Normally on a window this shape you'd only need casement clips at each side, and you could take the screen right the way to the top and right the way to the bottom. So if your recess for instance is 1310, you could make the screen 1300, just allow 10 mil for clearance, and just put your 3 casement clips each side of the frame. We've got 3 types of door screen. There's the aluminium chain curtain, which is really easy to measure up for. You've got 2 screws which screw in at the top of the frame, so you've just got to make sure you've got enough space to hang the bar onto the screws, and then you measure from wherever you're going to hang the screws down to approximately 10 millimetres from the bottom of the door. And what you don't want is you don't want the chain to be dragging on the floor because it gets dirty and it gets caught up in the door. So just allow about 10 millimetres underneath the bottom of the door. If you're measuring for a roller side door, you normally fit the box on the hinge side of the door and have the door pulling across to the lock side of the door. Now to take the measurement on the width, you would take it from all the way across the frame on the box side to, I think it's 20 millimeters past the door. But don't make the mistake of going all the way across to the other side of the door frame, because on this side, on a roller side door, you have a U-channel with a magnetic strip inside it. And if you set that too far across, you won't be able to get the door to close into it, because the handle on the moving rail of the door will get caught on the inside of your door frame. So you'll get it across and it won't quite reach. So measure it so that it finishes about 20 or maybe 25 millimeters and no further than that across the door, and then all the way to the other side of the door frame, so that your box can go as far this way as possible. And then on the drop, go all the way from the top point of the door frame down to the step, and that is your measurement for the height, right the way to the top. Now if your step like this one is sloped, you'll need to remember when you fit the bottom channel in, it will need to be wedged. You need to put little wedging packing pieces underneath it so that you don't screw it down on the skew. So it has to be straight and level with the rest of the door. Now the third type of screen is the hinge screen door, and things to watch before you even start measuring up is to make sure there's nothing sticking out past the level of the door frame. When you're fixing your hinge screen door to the frame, make sure that nothing, like for instance this knob here, or a handle on a back door, or a weather strip on the bottom, which might stop your fly screen door from shutting when the main door is shut. If there is, then what you'll need to do is either to mount your screen door onto the brickwork, having first fitted a timber subframe onto the brickwork, or you can fix an extra piece of wood onto the face of the existing door frame, so that it essentially brings the screen door away from the existing door, creating a space for these other bits that are sticking out. Having established that isn't the case and you can measure up okay, take the width of the screen door about halfway across the door frame each side, making sure that you've got at least 25 millimeters on each side of the door frame to allow for the hinges, which are going to go on one side, and the magnetic catch, which is going to go on the other side. So for instance this door frame here, which the maximum width of the door frame is 930, the minimum width of the door frame is 840, but the actual door width would be something like 880, maybe even 875, because that then gives you 25 millimeters on this side for the hinges, and it gives you about the same amount the other side to mount your magnetic catch. Also, by not taking the screen door too far across your door frame, you're allowing a little bit of space on the opposite side to fit the door handle onto the outer frame of the screen door. If you take your screen door too far across, you'll find there's nothing to fix the handle to on the inside when you come to hang your door. When you measure the height, obviously you can go, as long as you overlap the door frame, you're okay. This particular door frame hasn't got very much of the space at the top anyway, so I would measure from just below that top of that door frame down to about 5 millimeters before you get to the bottom. So this particular door, I would say about 1990 would be the drop measurement. That would give you about 5 millimeters underneath the door for clearance and about 5 millimeters at the top.